This episode of the Danger Close podcast is brought to you by Cry Havoc. From New York Times #1 best-selling author, Jack Carr. Cry Havoc, a Tom Reese thriller. Order now.
I remember one of the first ops, it was winter time. Right by the front door, these people had this chimney where out popped freaking Santa Claus.
What?
Every 30 seconds.
Oh, jeez.
Oh. Dude, I snapped up on Santa Claus.
Oh.
It would have been one of my first ops. I'm like, if I had shot Santa Claus, it would have been my last op, first of all.
Well, you would have a new nickname.
Exactly, Scrooge.
Exactly. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I want to ask you all about being a prosecutor, FBI agent, but I want to start with what you're doing now, we're doing now out in Lanai. And I mean, access deer, mouflon sheep, hunted out of the 4 seasons. Give us a little rundown. But before that, look, I have behind me. I'm not sure if you can see it in your angle or not, but my buddy just stopped by and dropped off a trad bow that he made. So Trevor Thompson dropped off this thing he's been studying how to make in the last couple of years, and made me a knife with an obsidian blade right there that he made himself. The arrows, this rattlesnake skin on the backside of the bow, and he just dropped that off. We slung a couple arrows outside, but Lanai, great for the bow hunting out there.
Well, you're kind of due. I mean, you haven't been there in a year or two. I know you've been busy doing some stuff.
Almost exactly a year and a couple months now, and we were supposed to meet up out there in December, right after Christmas, and then I wasn't done with the book, and so I had to cancel it. It's such a bummer. Where everybody was really looking forward to getting out there with you, and of course, a couple weeks beforehand, I'm like, can't do it. I'm due.
It's an open invite, as you know, it's just a matter of when, not if.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get back out there. I thought you were just out there though.
Yeah, I was out there. So the boys finished school, and then the next day I brought them out there for 2 weeks. And so we had some other hunters out there, some friends who were out there as well that were doing some hunting, filming a show. And then 2 weeks, which went by really quickly, was good, was great. We came home. The boys got sick while we were there, and they've been sick ever since. So just kind of dealing with standard 10-year-old, 12-year-old stuff,
Nice.
Ear infections, pneumonia, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's a little more on the hunting side. So when the first time you went out to Lanai, did you hunt the first time you went there? Were you aware that there was hunting the first time you went out there?
I did. So, I was told that the island had a huge abundance of deer out there, axis deer, and that so much so that there was a problem, right? That they needed to, they weren't officially culling or anything like that, but the only thing that was helping the numbers were hunters. Yeah. So the first time I went out there, I brought a rifle and hunted, and then started doing trips with my buddies. I think you were one of the first guys that came with me.
That was awesome. That was so much fun.
Go out there and shoot. And it was great because we would take, and you remember this, we would take almost like orders from people on the island of who wanted deer, and we'd stack them up and then just drop them off. People come pick them up. And so none of it was wasted, obviously. But that's the first couple times I went, and I just started going regularly. And, now that I own the business out there, I hunt much less out there. So
that's funny how that works.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, man. When did you start thinking about turning it into a business or taking it over as a business?
When I first the first couple times, I started hunting later in life, right? I didn't grow up hunting with my father or anything like that. I first hunted, I think I was like 30 years old, some guys from the Bureau. And I loved it instantly, which, makes sense. It's not too hard to figure out. And so when I went out there, I'd only been to a couple different outfitters at that point, right? But the more I hunted around the world, around the country, the more exposure I had to different outfitters and how they were running things, I kind of realized that there was somewhat of a void there in Lanai. They didn't really have they had a professional, people who would take you out, but it wasn't like necessarily marketed and brought people onto the island. It wasn't necessarily, at that time, there wasn't a professional organization out there doing that. And so had the idea to do it. Obviously, I ran it through friends who had been around, I think remember Scobie came out one time, and a couple other guys came out, and kind of ran it through them. Like, hey, is this a crazy idea? Starting a business? And they're like, absolutely not. This thing is just, you'd be stupid not to do it. Right. And so then, I was still in the Bureau, right? I still had 15 years in the Bureau. I still had about 5 to go before I was eligible to retire. And so it just came to the decision to, do I jump ship early and start the business? And I did, everything. And I know we'll get into the Bureau and all that stuff, but everything in the Bureau that I wanted to do, I'd already done, right? So the extra 5 years, other than, the insurance, the health insurance, that's the only thing that I missed out on.
Yeah. Oh man, that's wild. And people go to pineapplebrothers.com or to highadventurecompany.com and go through through that.
So either one, High Adventure or Pineapple Brothers. And then you go on the website and there's like request information, and then I'll get an email directly with, whoever's their name, what information they want to find out about, when they're interested in hunting and all that stuff. And so we, us and High Adventure talk to each other and work out the logistics for the client.
Nice. And it's such a great place for families. That's the thing that stood out to me, because most of the other hunting I'd done, it's like, okay, we're going up to it like we did. Like I was thinking about this earlier. We've been all around the world. We were supposed to be in Argentina a couple months ago. And once again, I had to cancel that because I wasn't yet done with the book. So that was 2 that we missed out on.
Yeah, you missed out on that. That was a good trip.
Oh man, I bet
Argentina was nice.
Yeah. I'd been down there before, it's been a couple of years, but I was supposed to go down with the family this time and link up with you down there. And just wasn't done with the book. So it couldn't happen, unfortunately. But in other places, where else have we gone? We've gone to Africa together. We've gone to New Zealand together.
New Zealand,
Colorado,
Alaska.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All those trips have stories to them, by the way, which are.
Well, this is why I'm so tired, because you snore so much. The snoring it's so bad. I've never heard anything like it.
You know what? I think you're the only person that's ever complained.
Stop it.
Only person that's ever complained. Well, I do remember the first night in Alaska. I think the words were, Dubin, your snoring is kind of a soothing snore. It actually put me to sleep.
As compared to Frank's?
And then
was that comparing it to Frank,
who was in the cot next to you?
I mean, everything's relative, right? So like that, yeah. So it's not a good thing that I said that. It's just relative to Frank. Like that was so crazy. I think I just went and slept with the guides. I think eventually
you did. You moved after 2 nights. You got out of there. I can still
hear you. That's why I'm so tired. That's why this book wasn't done. I was just so tired from all those built-up hunts of not sleeping, all these different places around the world. But still, it adds up. It adds up, to say nothing of New Zealand and everywhere else. But what really stood out to me anyway, seeing that, is that, man, you can take your family out there, and if not everyone hunts, they're not left out, because you're coming back and staying probably at the Four Seasons, and people can enjoy the pool and the food and everything else that Lanai has to offer if they're not interested in hunting. And you go out for a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, but you're still back with your family doing things. You're not away from them for like 2 weeks or whatever we're doing in New Zealand and Alaska.
Exactly. It's kind of like the hunt that doesn't count against you as a hunt.
Exactly.
It counts for you as a family trip. And if you're going for 3 hours in the morning and you're gone for 2 hours in the evening or afternoon, you're usually not missed. So, so it's definitely a vacation hunt that is good for the whole family, and especially if a spouse or some of the kids are too young to hunt, there's plenty of stuff to do.
Yeah.
It's Hawaii.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what really stood out to me. I love it out there. Cannot wait to get back. All right, this is Jack Carr checking in from Park City, Utah. Hello, everybody out there at Sig Next. I wish I could be there with you. I was just finishing up my latest novel, Cry Havoc, which hits shelves on October 7th. And last year at Sig Next, I was so honored to be able to introduce the 40th anniversary edition of the P226 right here. And if you followed me for more than a day, then you know how fond I am of this pistol. I used it for my entire 20 years in the SEAL teams. It was by my side on every single deployment. Even when I had to put my M4 down, I always had my 226 Mark 25 variant sometimes right there at the ready. And this year, I am also honored once again to be able to introduce the next evolution of the P226, and that is this pistol right here. It is the P226X Legion. Oh, that feels good. Dare I say it might feel better than the original. It comes in both a full-size edition with a 4.4-inch barrel and a carry-size edition with a 3.8-inch barrel. Both sizes are available in double-action, single-action with the iconic P226 decocking lever. The new P226X Legion has a new X-Series alloy frame with an even more ergonomic design with a deep undercut below the trigger guard and an extended beaver tail with an enhanced grip angle for an even more balanced feel in your hand. Both sizes have a full-length dust cover and rail on the front for a classic modern look. One of the biggest additions to the new P226X Legion is the amazing trigger, which is now adjustable in all models, giving you a smooth, crisp, customizable feel. Both the full and carry size have the bull barrels, just like the legendary X5 editions, making them extremely accurate. All models are optics ready with a removable sight plate, which has a pro footprint. These two are fitted with SIG's Romeo X optics. The all-new P226X Legion series, the next chapter in the history of this incredible pistol. This pistol feels good. Still feels like it's an extension of my hand. And this right here, this just might end up being the new carry. Yeah, I could do some good work with this. Love it. All right, path into the legal system. I don't think I've ever asked you. Did you always know you were going to be a lawyer? Because you have so many family members and people that are close to you that were attorneys in Chicago. Did you know that was kind of your path?
No, it was actually I did not want to be a lawyer
because of that. Because you saw. Why didn't you want to be an attorney early on?
Yeah, I did not want to be a lawyer. It just wasn't interesting to me. You and you and I are the same age, almost to the day.
Yeah.
And so, growing up, we had Top Gun came out, and man, I wanted to be a fighter pilot forever. Right? Forever I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
So fast forward to college, and my roommate, my freshman year in the dorms, his father was an FBI agent.
Okay.
And they lived locally. So like on the weekends, my roommate and I would go to his house. Mom would make dinner for us, and we'd do our laundry, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I got talking to his dad every weekend, talking about it. And it kind of definitely sparked my interest, and all of a sudden became somewhat of a serious goal that I wanted to attain. Right. So I think starting freshman year at college, I had the idea I wanted to go in the FBI. But then and now, I'm sure, they weren't really taking people right out of college, right? Mm-hmm. So you had to have work experience, in your interview process. You had to compete in the interview process with other people that had legitimate work experience, right? It achieved a lot of things in their professional life. And if you're coming out of college and you really haven't done anything professionally, you have a hard time competing with, for example, show me they have a question, something along the lines of, show me something when you use good judgment, right? And
you're like,
I'm like, you're starting with the hardest one already.
Just son of a.
Starting with the hardest one already.
I'll come back in a couple of years so I can work on that.
No, but and you're coming up with how you studied for a test, or how you made a decision when you were on spring break, it doesn't balance out against the guy or girl that comes in there and she's like, well, I led a platoon in Iraq and stuff like that. So you don't really compete if you're right out of college, unless you have some unique talents. So fast forward, I knew I had to get work experience. I like criminal law. I like that whole side. So, went to law school. After I graduated college, went to law school in Chicago. And then, the whole time I was in law school, I was clerking for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And so usually if you're getting hired by them, it's mostly guys and girls that have really put the time in to get to clerk there throughout their law school. And that's kind of what I did. And so got hired as an assistant state's attorney, and that was in 98.
Dang.
Yeah. So all with the idea that FBI was my goal.
Okay.
Right? I want to get into bureau.
Got it. What are your memories of law school? Was it hard for you, easy for you? Was it, or not easy, I guess, but was it anything to kind of any obstacles there?
No. So, yeah. The way I started, I went in the night program for my first semester.
Okay.
Right. So I went from, being in college, partying, having fun, to all of a sudden I'm sleeping in my parents' house again. I'm still sleeping in my bed that I had since I was 7 years old. Right. I'd get up and I'd have to drive to the south side of Chicago. And this is living in the suburbs because I was working for the state's attorney's office as a paid clerk. And so
right away, right out of the gate, as a clerk, right? As an intern. So that would take me from 6 a.m. to about 4. And then I'd drive downtown to school and I have class from 6 until 9 at night, a 3-hour block of classes. Okay. And so the days went from, party time, college to all of a sudden pretty regimented, no time for really doing anything. Yeah. So that part was not so fun. Yeah. But then after the first year, I switched over to the day program and it really became, you could treat it like a job and get it all done. I still had a social life. It was, I wouldn't say it was that difficult, but you had to commit yourself to it. And most people who are already there are committed to it. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. What was your memories of that? What is the toughest thing that you did there? Or what was something you learned there that you were actually able to apply later, or something that didn't apply? Like, what was your school experience kind of versus what you were going to step into?
I would say most of the stuff that you had to learn or classes you had to pass are stuff that I never used again. Yeah. Right. And it's because, I think most of the days now, when lawyers are coming out, like our generation and the younger ones, there's so many lawyers out there that people tend to really work on specific areas of the law, right? You don't have those lawyers that my father used to call AFM lawyers, all for money. So whatever walked in your door, whether it was a divorce, whether it was a real estate closing, whether it was a sales contract, whether it was a DUI, whether it was a murder case, you took it. Like the father's generation, you took it, and then you kind of figured it out from there. Okay. Now there's so many lawyers, and everyone specializes. Yeah. So I guess ringing back to what the question is, the stuff that I did use was all the stuff having to do with criminal law, evidence, stuff like that. But, property, torts, contracts, civil procedure.
So it's like a broad overview.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you ready it doesn't necessarily get you ready to practice law out of the gate, but it gets you ready to have to pass the bar. And you should have a general knowledge of some of the aspects of law.
Yeah. Right? How was the bar?
So, you know what? I took it twice. I passed on the second time. The first time it was summertime in Chicago, and I did put in like the requisite amount of study hours.
Understood.
Theoretically. But as in anyone who knows Chicago or summertime, downtown Chicago, when you're in your mid-20s, there's distractions. So I failed the first time, and then I had to take it 6 months later, and I passed.
Okay.
And the state's attorney's office was so gracious to keep myself and a couple of the other ASAs who failed the first time, kept us on.
Okay.
So
did most people in your class know what they wanted to do, or were they in law school like to get this broad overview and then say, oh, I thought I was going to want to do this, but instead I'm going to do this? Or did they know if they wanted to be defenders, if they want to be prosecutors, if they wanted to go into federal law enforcement, if they wanted to use it as to be like a general counsel of a company? Or did people kind of know what they wanted, or were they figuring it out while you're in law school?
I think that there was a large, I would say a large portion, but there's definitely a portion of the people who were coming in that didn't even want to practice law, right? They don't want to be lawyers. They don't want to be a practicing attorney, but the knowledge and the background is something that they had, and they can, they can utilize in their day-to-day life. Some of my best buddies, guys who I actually grew up with in the same neighborhood, were in my law school class. We went to different colleges, but we got the same law school class. One of them owns a bourbon business. Other one is a producer in Hollywood. Barely anyone's practicing law, except for a couple of my close friends.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the things that law school does, it helps you realize that maybe you don't want to practice law.
Interesting.
While you're in it. But,
okay. Man. And then you know exactly where you're going to go. And when you get out, you show up there, right, and then you actually start doing this. And what were some eye-opening moments? You're prosecuting people for crimes, and I'm sure there were some fairly horrific ones. Was there a moment that you were like, oh, this is awful? Either I'm really glad I'm doing that because I can, this is my part of the process, but I get to put this person behind bars, or are you like, oh man, this is awful. I never want to have to deal with this again.
So I think that, so the way it was in Illinois, there is, and if you're a law clerk working for the state's attorney's office or the public defender's office, and you have a certain number of credit hours under your belt, you can apply for what's called a 711. And so basically it allows you to conduct trials. You get to do actual trials so long as there's an attorney with you, right? So as a law clerk, working in a misdemeanor courtroom, I was finishing my second year of law school, and that summer I think I did 18 trials.
What?
And not even as a lawyer, just as a law clerk in the 711 program. And they were all, none of them were these terrible crimes. It may have been a stupid fist fight between some people, or a retail theft, or whatever, misdemeanor crimes that neither the defendant nor the victims really cared that much about. And they tended to give those cases, which suspiciously had very, very little evidence
really
to present.
Oh wow.
to the law clerks. So
wow.
if it was a loser case and it had to be tried, it was going to the 711.
Going to you. Going to Dubin.
That's a Dubin case right there. So I remember the first case I did, there was this, the courtrooms are hectic. There's 50 to 70 cases on the docket in that one courtroom for maybe sometimes two ASAs or prosecutors in that courtroom handling all those cases. So when I'm starting my first trial, right, I don't remember what it was a battery or an assault or something like that. And okay, state, you want to present your opening argument? Gave an opening argument. I turned, and the guy who's supposed to be watching me is gone. I'm like, what the crap? So anyway, it was a not guilty. It was a not guilty. But yeah, you get thrown in, and especially with the volume and in that city of Chicago, as in Cook County, you get thrown into the deep end real fast.
Okay.
So, all of them, I love my time there. I love the people I worked with. It was all very noble and great stuff. I felt as though almost everyone that I worked with, we were spread so thin because of the sheer volume of cases that came in. I can't imagine anyone that didn't feel that way. But did the best we could. And I'm talking about now once I was an actual state's attorney, assistant state's attorney.
Did they have that same program, the 7-Eleven program? Do they have that on the defendant side also?
Yeah, I think the law students who were working for the public defender's office could do it as well. Wow. I'm pretty sure. And it may have changed. I mean, it's not like we're talking 80 years ago or anything like that, but it was about 25 years ago.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, man. Since 2003, Bravo Company Manufacturing, founded by a U.S. Marine veteran in Heartland, Wisconsin, has been crafting mission-ready weapon components for professionals who demand reliability. Trusted by U.S. Special Operations, law enforcement, and responsible citizens worldwide, BCM gear is engineered and tested to perform in the most unforgiving environments. Every BCM tool is built and tested as if your life depends on it. Go to Bravo Company USA for more information. Bravo Company, American-made, duty-built. So then you start working there legit full-time. You're an actual attorney now, past the bar. Then what are some of those cases? And do you end up specializing within the office?
Yeah. So they put you, there's kind of like a flow chart, a hierarchy, that the more time you get in the office, you go to these different branches.
Yeah.
And so the way it was when I got in is you started either in appeals, you started in traffic court, or you started, I think it was some juvenile. It wasn't juvenile court, but it was something with, deadbeat dad not paying money to the mothers of the children, something like that.
Yeah. And
so from there, you went out to either narcotics, regular misdemeanors, or domestic violence. And I got sent to domestic violence. Oh. So the domestic violence at that point was any misdemeanor case, right? Which is not charged as a felony, that had a domestic relationship between the victim and the offender. And so that, I mean, there's all kinds, you'd think the standard husband-wife stuff, but it could be cousins, it could be, an uncle. And then it also entailed the child abuse aspect, right? So, and that's what it was kind of, those are the harder cases, and easier then for me than I think they would be now for me if I had to do those cases being a parent, right? I think I look back at those cases and, being a 26, 27-year-old, kid, you saw the case in an analytical way. What do I need to get a conviction, right? And there's emotion to it, especially with the kid victims and some of the horrible stuff that you see. Yeah. But you detach a little bit. I think it was probably my younger self that was able to detach. But I think once I had my first son, I don't think I could do those cases anymore.
Yeah. Gosh, that's so tough.
So
how long did you stay there?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. So, well, it was, I was in domestic violence for three years, so 3.5 years. And then it went up to the next stage above that. And then, that whole time I was in the application process for the Bureau. And so I knew that I was waiting on a class. I'd passed all I'd passed the interviews, the background checks, the polygraph, and they're just trying to get people in classes, right? So this is 2003 and 2003. And it's, a couple years after 9/11. So the application process to the Bureau was very high during those couple of years. I remember I think in 2003, they put 900 agents through Quantico, but they had 120,000 applicants for that year. So they're trying to get people in classes. And I remember I was walking out of court on a Thursday, and the guy from the Chicago field office calls me up and says, "Hey, could you be in Quantico on Sunday morning?" I'm like, you want to give your boss 2 weeks and all that stuff. You don't want to let your partners in court hanging on cases and stuff like that. And so I'm like, let me call you back. Walked right in. My supervisor was a great dude. And I'm like, I've been waiting to go to the academy class, and it was just been a matter of time. They just called me and asked if I could be there tomorrow on Sunday. So he goes, do it. So walked out and think I turned over my little whatever ID I had right then and there. And packed. And and that was the next day I was heading out to, Friday, I think I was driving east.
No way. And where were you at this time for the last 2 years? You did the first 3 years in domestic violence, and then what was the step up?
So I did, the first year was in appeals.
Oh, appeals. Okay.
So that first level I was doing appeals.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then I went to domestic violence.
Okay.
For 3.5 years. I did a little lateral transfer to work just to get out of the DV stuff and work standard misdemeanors type stuff. And then went into they had a program, it was like felony, what they called felony review. And it was, let's see, best way to, I don't want to get too much into it, but you're not really in a courtroom anymore, right? Yeah. You're on the streets, reviewing pending cases or ongoing investigations with the detectives to see if it's something which we can likely charge as a felony, right? Okay. So you out there, you're watching the interviews and stuff like that. So I did a brief stint there, and then a brief stint in preliminary hearings, which is all these are stages getting up to the felony trial division at 26 in Cal. Wow. So after 5 years, I got into prelims, and I still had yet to make it to 26 in Cal to do standard felonies. Okay. I'm not including narcotic stuff. Narcotic stuffs were all, for the most part, all felonies anyway, but they were handled by, ASAs of my, year.
Okay. Wow.
So
you drive east and you pull into the gate, like say, hey, I'm here for class.
I drive east. I had a buddy of mine was in a headquarters. He was an agent in Chicago, real close friends with him. And he happened to have moved out there. So I stayed with him for the night. And then next day, showed up at Quantico. And that was it. And it started.
Nice. And you live are you in barracks or something there? Or you go off and you show up? Is it like?
No. It's all internal. So you have, it's like dormitories. It's almost like a college dorm.
So it's like Silence of the Lambs. Like that's.
Yeah, that's exactly where it is.
They filmed there, right? Didn't they film there?
Yeah. All the academy stuff is filmed in at the academy.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of, you watch Silence of the Lambs. It was on cable a couple of weeks ago. I was watching it and I'm like, I know that stairwell. That's how you get to the gym. You go this way, you go there. They go to the behavioral science units right by the gun vault. You got to go, nice. That kind of stuff. Nice.
Man. So you show up and what is it like walking into first day?
First day is you have everyone's, I think we're in suits. And everyone is in a class. And you're looking around. We had 50 in our class. And you're just kind of looking around. You're saying hi to the people next to you and stuff like that. And, you get all these instructors that come in. And this is going to be your firearms instructor. This is going to be your defensive tactics instructor. This is going to be your arrest scenarios instructor. This is going to be the person who's teaching you your legal units. All the different stuff that they teach.
Yeah.
So you're meeting your instructors, and then it starts the next day. Hey, tomorrow, be in class at 8 a.m. and boom, you'd have 3 or 4 hour 4-hour blocks. So you could have if you have a real boring day, man, you could have evidence for 4 hours in the morning, and then interview and interrogation for 4 hours, and you don't even leave the building, right?
Okay.
You're indoors, just drinking Mountain Dew and coffee. And then some days you'd have firearms in the morning, and and then tactics, arrest tactics and stuff like that in the afternoon. Those are a freaking blast, right?
Yeah.
Running around Hogan's Alley.
Okay.
Arresting people and learning from your mistakes. So
that's fantastic. How long is it? How long is that academy?
So when I went through in 2003, it was 17 weeks, and I haven't even kept up with how it's changed over the years. I know that they added time to it. So I think people who are coming in a few years after me were in for 21 weeks.
Okay.
And they kept adding to the curriculum, and then I have no idea what it is right now.
Yeah.
No idea what it is right now.
And do you do everything there? It's not like Secret Service and some other departments have to go down to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Facility down in Georgia. You do all yours at Quantico, right?
Everything's there. So Quantico is that Marine Corps base, right? But it was a designated area for the FBI Academy, which has, there's the labs. They have labs there. They have the firing range. They have, I don't know how many acres they have, but they have a good amount of acreage in that area to do everything they need to do. So any training that we did was generally done there. The only exception was when we're practicing surveillance stuff, right? And it's no roads around there really. It's kind of hard to do legitimate surveillance and practice surveillance. So we would go out, we'd get cars and go out around the town and practice surveillance around town. Man,
and what are you guys shooting at this time? What do you shoot in the academy?
Yeah, that we were at the Glock 22, so a 40 caliber Glock.
40 cal, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And did you do any M4 AR type stuff and shotgun stuff?
No. So yeah, the Remington 870.
Nice.
Yep. The Remington 870.
Hey, it's hard to beat a Remington 870.
Oh man, it's still it's an awesome weapon still.
Yeah.
It's
oh yeah.
But yeah, the three things we had to qualify on were the Glock, right? The Remington 870, and then we were shooting the MP5.
Okay.
Back then too.
Perfect.
So, but the MP5, we hadn't even, we were just getting into like the AR stuff. We did like a familiarization fire with the M4, but we had the 10 mil MP5.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Bureau is the only group that asked for a 10 mil.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
in case there's a bear around.
Well, shit. You wanted to go through 9 walls, not just 8.
So it's fantastic.
No, I think that the genesis of that was, the Miami shootout.
Yeah.
And people, having people having semi-automatic weapons as opposed to wheel guns, and then the caliber, which was being utilized at the time, was 9mm enough. And back then, the 9mm round back then, I don't think had terminal ballistics that it has now, right, through the advanced the study of the terminal ballistics. Oh yeah. So they went to 10 mil at one point with their handgun. They had a Smith and Wesson. Was
it before that? Was it before? Was that was before, right?
No.
Was it mid 90s they did the 10 mil? And that Smith and Wesson?
Don't remember.
Someone will correct us in comments.
I don't remember if it was due to the Miami shootout. I know they went to the 40 cal, I think, due to that.
Yeah.
But obviously, these are general concepts, not.
Yes.
I know there's going to be some guys out there.
Yeah. They'll know the exact date, exact this.
Man, Dubin doesn't know it. Now he's just making up crap.
Yeah. No, mid 90s, 40 cal was everybody was switching to the 40 cal around the mid 90s. Yeah. But then now so much more technology and thought and innovation has gone into the 9mm round. So,
the Bureau's back to the 9mm.
Yeah. Do you drive there too? Do you do the driving stuff?
We didn't, we did not. So that was year specific. So like the agents, like a year before us, were doing the defensive driving and for whatever reason, 2003, the people in the classes ahead of me and my class and some of the ones after, they skipped it. They just didn't put it in the curriculum.
That's so fun. It was too much fun.
Exactly. I had to sit in class and listen to something instead. So our class did not do it, and then they brought it back. So then you'd have agents who are like 4 years younger than you in the Bureau, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we did the driving stuff."
Yeah, so the driving stuff's so much fun. That was like the most fun stuff I did in the teams was the different driving schools. But we should do one. We should go and do one because they are so much fun doing all the J turns and going.
I ended up doing some of that for SWAT.
Okay,
so
cool.
For the agents program,
okay,
but in SWAT we got used to how to pushing cars and
yeah. Okay, we'll get to
shooting in cars, shooting out of cars.
Oh, fantastic, awesome.
All the right.
Okay. So when you're there,
but I still want to do it. By the way,
let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Invitation accepted.
Awesome. Let's do it. So while you're at the academy, is there like a wish list, kind of like military stuff when you get out? Like, hey, I want to go to this team, or people that graduate from the academy say I want to go into aviation or ships or intel or whatever they want to do. Are you ranked in the class, and do you choose? Is there based on location, or does everybody go into a field office and everyone is starting out? Field offices are different, but you're starting at not the mail room, but essentially the mail room is a brand new person, or what is that like?
So there is, as far as what you want to work, you really have no choice. I mean, I'm sure they, in their heart of hearts, they try to maybe get you that, like if you're a speaker of a certain language, maybe you're having something to do with that country or something like that. But when you get in the academy, in the first couple of weeks, you have, there's 56 main field offices. You have to rank all the field offices in order of preference, right? So you have to, and if you're coming up with your list, and these are places where they could assign you to live. I mean, once you get to like 15, you've never been to any of these places ever, right? So I'm like, if I pick Tampa or Miami or Boston or I've only stopped at the airport. I have no idea, you know. So you have to rank them in order of preference, and so I ranked my first one was Chicago, and they don't send you back to the field office you came from. That was kind of the rule back then, unless you came from a field office that was so big and so hard to staff, i.e. New York City or LA.
You mean where you grew up, like where you were coming from?
Yeah, you could go, if you process out of that office, you could probably go back to that.
Oh, if you process. Oh, okay.
And I had a bunch of my New York buddies who processed out of New York went back to New York. They all of them went back to New York.
Okay.
So you come with that list, and then in week 6 you have orders night, right? And it's
week 6, like early.
Yeah, orders night. Yeah, it's pretty early. So you get orders night, and it makes a difference because you have people quit because of it, right?
Oh wow.
So
they let you quit at this point.
Yeah,
like it's not like boot camp.
No, it's not like well, you're going to be doing something here. No, we graduated 36 out of 50.
Oh wow.
So orders night, everyone's in there, and they have a map of the United States up there, and you stand up there and you're like, give me an envelope. All right, say your name, say the city, the field office you want to go to, and then read where you're going. And it was emotional for some dudes,
really,
some guys and girls. I mean, some guys are like, and I'm going to Denver, and they can't fucking locate Colorado on the map. Like, shit, I know it's Colorado's one of these.
Stop it.
It's like,
no.
I'm not talking about intelligence, but I'm just talking about some guys who just grew up in sheltered areas and just hadn't been around that much. But guys got divorced because of it, where they got sent to, and everyone knows going in that you can go wherever the bureau sends you. You don't get a choice. They try to help you out and give you your top 10 or something like that. I got my number 4th, right, which was San Francisco.
Wow.
But some guys got their 38th. Wow. Or guys or girls got their 38th.
Yeah.
And then for me, I was single, right? No kids, single, so I had a much easier ability to just go wherever and make it happen.
Yeah.
Some of the guys in the class were married. Like the spouse had a career in that city.
Oh, wow.
And they had children who were already in that city and somewhat established. And then you got to call home and say, hey, I know we're in Dallas. But
I got my 46th choice.
Yeah, but we're moving to New Haven.
Yeah.
And so it caused problems for some of the guys and girls in the class. But
what were your middle two? So you had Chicago, then 2, 3, and then SF.
I had LA. So no, I take it back. Chicago. I had Arizona, which are Phoenix field office. I had a bunch of my buddies from college who lived in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I think San Diego, because I heard San Diego was beautiful. So already on my 3rd choice, I'm like, I only lived in 2 places my whole life, right?
That's awesome.
I'm already like putting stuff I've heard. San Diego, San Francisco, and then LA.
Okay.
That was my top 5 in that order. And then I got San Francisco. I don't even remember what I put after that. I have no idea.
Right. And so, man, and when you graduate the academy, do they do that thing like in Silence of the Lambs where you hold your badge and they have the cake and you take the picture and you walk off the stage?
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely. They do. You have it. usually it's the director that comes, but if the director's busy, they have like an AD, assistant director, come out and, read your name, Clarice Starling.
Right.
And you walk over, shake hands, take a picture like that, and get your ass off the stage.
And it is, you get your badge.
Yep. You get your badge right there, and then you're done. Then you walk to the vault, and you pick up your pistol, and then you have what we did. Our classes, we had to do what's called a temporary duty assignment, TDY.
Yeah.
Everyone from our class had to do a 5-week TDY in headquarters, filling in for whatever division needed help.
Okay.
And they put us all up they put us up in Old Town at a hotel.
Oh, nice.
It was a freaking blast.
Yeah.
Blast. Everyone got in their cars, got their guns, and went to that hotel and took the train in. You worked, you worked your what you had to do while you're at headquarters. You didn't really get immersed in anything. You're just kind of helping people out with whatever you need help with.
Yeah, and that's the Hoover building, right?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And so after that, drove from there to San Francisco.
No way. And so, do you know what you're going to be doing? Like kind of when you start out, like your expectations are set as you go through that all those weeks of training as a new field agent?
Yeah, so which comes back to that second point of like knowing what you're working and do they put you like, I mean, if you were, even if you were a SEAL or you were any kind of SF person, back then it didn't mean that you were going to go straight to the tactical team in your division. And you had to do sometimes. A lot of those guys want to try out for HRT and go back doing the same type of work at HRT.
Right.
But so I got a call from my supervisor while I was in the academy, and I won't say the specific. I got assigned to foreign counterintelligence.
Cool.
So doing counterintelligence work, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm a lawyer, I'm a prosecutor, and my background is criminal law, and I'm doing one of the things that least has to do with criminal law. Huh. So there was not much that goes into where what your background was or what your talents are. Surely not caring too much when you're first coming in of what you want to do. They plug holes where they need to be plugged.
Right.
And then great thing about the Bureau, though, is that once you put some time in there and you want to get to do gang work, you want to get to do violent crime, you want to do white collar crime, whatever you want to do, you can eventually get there, right? And you can spend your time doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But so not much thought was, I think, put into my first assignment.
And did you have classes in counterintelligence at Quantico, or was it like on the job training once you got there under somebody who'd been doing it for a while, or both?
Both. Yeah. There's some added stuff that we get. So
nice.
not to get into it, but yeah. So
how long do you end up doing that? And is it mostly, are you doing surveillance as part of that, or is it, I mean, this is early on. There's not like, probably there is now as far as surveillance goes with all the iPhone's not even out yet at this point. I don't think when you get there.
We had Nextels, man. We're tripping each other up with Nextels, which I still love, by the way. I can always rely on that Nextel walkie-talkie.
I remember that. Yeah. Man. So, it was probably a little bit more analog back then as far as surveillance and building cases against people. But what was that like? And did you get anybody? Did you catch people?
Well, yeah, we did, but most of the stuff we did was almost all of it was classified, right? So what we were doing, how we were doing it, was all just in the realm of what you would think the Bureau was doing when it comes to espionage and stuff like that, trying to catch bad people. You can imagine being in Silicon Valley, which is in the San Francisco division, the amount of espionage that goes in and around just the tech companies alone, and people trying to steal tech transfer stuff. And so, but I did that for about 4 years.
Okay.
And then switched over to the gang and violent crime squad.
Nice.
That's what I wanted.
That's
to do.
right.
I got on the SWAT team after 2 years.
Okay.
So I was on SWAT before I even moved over to gangs, and I was a firearms instructor. So I got to get out of the office and do some stuff that was exciting to me as a young man. But Then got over to gangs and violent crime, and that was a blast. I mean, I enjoyed that very much. I was just running around the streets in plain clothes and making cases. And
okay.
So,
man. What training went into, like, when you get picked up for SWAT? What changes for you as far as training goes?
So our field, there's in the biggest divisions in the bureau, the SWAT teams become enhanced teams, right? So, the training's generally the same. Do we get a little bit more training? Yeah. Do we get a little bit more gear? Do we have a little bit more responsibilities? Yes, than some other teams. We would. I think the thing about it too is that it's not a full-time gig. The only person who was a full-time on the SWAT team would have been the senior team leader, right? Who was handling all organizational training and operations that we have coming up. And then as we got busier and busier, they put a full-time guy to do the training element, right? Okay. Then a full-time guy to do ops.
Yeah.
But of a team of 46 people, there was only 3 full-time people. Everyone else had cases to work, right? So I'm working gangs. I still got to work my gangs. I got to work my sources. So we train about once a week. We have trained once a week. I think maybe every 4th week. There's twice a week. And then but you also have all these different, task measures that you got to knock off annually too. So it's not like you can just be out there just doing CQB every day, and which is our bread and butter, right? The CQB. You have to track that training block of hazmat, right? How to work all that gear, maritime. And we had a maritime because we were on the coast. We had responsibility for shipboarding and maritime stuff, and So it was good. The train. It was not a full-time thing. So it's not like what people think is that they're going out and you're training every day. That's more HRT.
Right.
That's doing that. The guys back in Quantico at HRT they're dedicated to that.
Yeah. What did it feel like first time you stacked on the door? Do you remember the call? Like the first time you actually had to make entry, middle of the night, whatever, go grab somebody, what that felt like?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's the great thing too about when you get together with your buddies, especially the guys you're on the team with, the amount of stories that you start telling is stuff that you completely forgotten about. I remember one of the first ops, it was winter time, and we get off the car, we could get off the trucks, that we would ride the outside of the trucks. We get like a phase line yellow, and then from yellow get on the sideboards and then roll in and get off the trucks and approach the door. It was winter time. It was crisp. I mean, it wasn't no snow, and it's California, but right by the front door, these fucking people had, excuse my language, I don't know if we're swearing or not on this show.
It's fine.
All right. They had this chimney, lit up chimney thing where out popped freaking Santa Claus.
What? Like
every 30 seconds.
Oh, jeez.
Oh. Dude, I snapped up on Santa Claus.
Oh.
It would have been one of my first ops. I'm like, if I had shot Santa Claus, I never would have. It would have been my last op, first of all.
Well, you would have a new nickname. Yeah, you'd have a new nickname.
Exactly. Scrooge.
Exactly.
So, and then we got to be very busy, one of the busiest teams, because we started doing about an op or 2 a week in like our heyday of ours. Once I was on team for about 3-4 years, we were doing 60 ops a year. So it became a lot more intense. You have to travel for them. You just because you had to op that morning, then you have to go to work and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was probably one of the greatest parts of my professional career was being on the team.
Yeah.
And the buddies that I have and the relationships that I, still maintain to this day.
And when you're working gangs, are you there the rest of the time? Or you stay focused there, or do you go somewhere else also?
It's all, so it would be local. So we would work gangs I was based in the San Francisco division. That's the division which handles everything all the way up to the Oregon border, out east towards Sacramento. and then down south, almost halfway to LA. Wow. So that was the San Francisco division's responsibility, or AOR. But I was in the headquarters city, so I was in the downtown San Francisco office. Yeah. And then we would handle the gangs and the bank robberies and the stuff like that was around the city and the suburbs around there. We had, San Francisco had satellite offices called RAs. So there was an Oakland office, there's a San Jose office, there's a Santa Rosa office. And the guys or girls who were assigned to those offices would work those gangs up there, stuff like that.
Nice. But you stayed in gangs. So you started counterintel, gangs, and then you didn't go to another like. Yeah,
I did. So I did gangs for maybe 6 years.
Okay.
6.5 years. And then I went to the Joint Terrorism Task Force.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I switched over to the JTTF, and also fun gig, while there, one of the responsibilities I had was I was the special events coordinator. So any kind of big event that comes in that kind of the FBI should be a part of, at least for an intel gathering or putting out intel, or even if it's tactical team, stuff like that, there's a coordinator that does that. So in addition to running out the standard guardian leads that we had coming in, I did that. And so we had Super Bowl 50 was here.
Yeah.
During that. I think you remember I talked to you about that. And for so many people are involved in that. So just because you're the coordinator for the division at that time, we get so much help from headquarters. At least you start like 18 months out with meetings and prepping and stuff like that. So it's a huge event and thing that most people won't even understand happens behind the scenes, and what the bureau's involved in, and not just bureau, but a bunch of other agencies and the local police for sure, and the support you get out of headquarters, and the amount of stuff that you wouldn't even think about needing to do. The people at headquarters do that full time, right? So they did the Super Bowl for that. They did the Super Bowl for that. They did the convention here, the convention there. So it's So terrorism was fun.
Yeah. What else?
Let me take that back. That sounds bad. Terrorism is fun. No, working the JTTF was good.
Yeah.
Was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And other big events, you had Super Bowl and you had America's Cup, and what else was on that list while you were there? We would do, I think we were in a couple World Series. Okay.
The Giants were in a couple World Series during that time.
All right.
Let's see. We would do standard football. I think every home game we would have some presence for the 49ers.
Nice.
Also with the Raiders back then.
Yeah.
So and then there was other things that came through the city that we would have just a small. We wouldn't bring out all the toys and gadgets and the 800-pound gorilla that the bureau can be. Most of the time we had a very small role in those events, but at the same time we were present.
Yeah. And what was the I don't know if you could talk about it was it Idaho or Colorado you guys had to bust out for?
Oh, that was Idaho. Yeah. Idaho. I remember there was a case where a guy went and I forgot, they made a movie out of it, I think, one of those, Hallmark Channel movies. And so the short story is the guy goes and is friends with the mom and the kids through the father. The father is gone, lives in a different area. So the guy goes in while the young boy and the mother are there, kills them, and then goes to the school and gets the daughter, who's a teenage girl, gets the daughter and then puts her in a car and takes off with her. And takes off. And eventually, there's a missing person, there's kidnapping, all this is going on. And San Francisco and about 5 other SWAT team divisions got the call. They found the car in, I think it was Cascade, Idaho. And so it was just everyone who was on the team, Fort staging port, get all your stuff, grab your gear, be ready to, because the things we had in years past, not just our team, but there were some real prolonged events where SWAT guys were out there for weeks and months at a time. So it's like, yeah, bring about a week's worth of clothing and underwear and just all your stuff. And I don't know when you're going to come back. So we head out there, and it's like a 12-hour drive. And so we get out there, get in, all the team leaders are going in, figuring out what's going on. And to make a long story short, we never even left the school that we were in. We were there, dressed up, kitted up, ready to go. They're picking assignments for where this team's going to go check out. We have a lead in this area. We have a lead in this area. Go check. You guys are going to hike into this area. Helicopter's going to take you guys to check out this area. And one of the leads that we had started to really materialize, right? Started looking really good. And I mean, like bureau-wise, for everyone who was out there working. And HRT had made it out there already, right? They had flown in. And so it was looking really good that it was a target that HRT should go to and figure out, right? And it turns out that, there was the guy, and he had the girl, and he engaged. I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but this is all, reports on the radio and stuff like that. He engaged the HRT guys, and they shot him, killed him.
Yeah.
So, but that was Idaho.
Yeah.
That was a while ago, man.
Yeah.
That was
couple moons.
Maybe 15 years ago. I don't even know.
Couple moons back. Yeah. Man, and then doing all that work you did in San Francisco, liaising with, after 9/11, of course, we get the 9/11 Commission report, and you some of the stovepiping between agencies and all that stuff, and you come in after that. Over your time, did you see any of those, had some of those walls already come down, especially when you got to the Joint Terrorism Task Force between government agencies when it comes to specifically to the terrorism threat, the international terrorism threat specifically, or were there still these silos in place?
No, I think that on the level I was at, which is, the troop level, right? Down there is like the agents hitting the streets and working on the streets. I didn't really see much of the animosity between any division. Any of the DEA guys and girls that I worked with when I was working gangs got along great. ATF guys and girls that I worked with, we got along great, right? The JTTF is the beauty of that is it puts everyone from all these different groups into one unit to work together. Yeah. So there isn't like it's not like something happens and you got to break out to that local police department and start introducing yourself. Those relationships are already there. So I really did not witness much of the animosity between the bureau and local law enforcement or other federal agencies. Once in a while you get the joke. You're standing around and it's task force and it's you're the one FBI guy. And everyone's the copper. It's little jokes like that, but everyone's friends. Yeah. It was if there were issues with people not liking the bureau in our division. I'm sure there's relationships in other divisions in other cities. Where the relationship between the bureau and whatever the PD, the local police department, they're contentious. I'm sure that does exist, and those relationships ebb and flow as well. But while I was in the units I was in, and my exposure to the other groups that I worked with, I got along all of them. I didn't see much of that. Yeah.
And what did you like most about working in gangs?
It was fun. I got what I liked most was turning informants and working informants against and doing that. So it was trying to figure out how to put the evidence together, how to figure out when someone's going to commit a crime. Having all these people in place that they may not be an informant that's going to buy drugs for you or videotape it or testify in court down the road, right? It may just be an informational asset that just says, "Hey, are you out on the street? Are you out on the street right now?" And I'd have my partners were all SFPD gang task force guys.
Okay.
And I became really close with those guys. And it was a real tight crew that we worked together, about 5 of us.
Okay.
So, and you'd get a call from your informant. Yeah, if you are out there, XYZ is driving around in his white Lexus, and he has, he's got a gun, right? And obviously it comes to probable cause. Do you have probable cause? These are informants that had just witnessed it and know that he has it, saw it, and have a history of providing reliable information. And so then going and trying to find the guy and get the gun, and these are all convicted felons, because we know most of the gang members in the certain areas. It's not in San Francisco. It wasn't like these big international gangs. You think the Bloods, the Crips, in Chicago, the Gangster Disciples, the Latin Kings, where you have thousands and thousands of members.
Yeah.
MS-13, stuff like that. These are more locally based gangs. So they may, at one time, they may have about 20 to 25 guys running around that are doing bad stuff, So you know who they were, and you knew who the worst of the actors were, and all that stuff. So I like working informants. It was a challenging aspect, but it was it can drive you crazy sometimes, because you're not dealing with some of the brightest dudes in the damn world.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking about the informants. But yeah, I enjoyed it, loved it.
Yeah. What are you carrying at this point? What are you guys carrying pistol wise?
There we were carrying. I was carrying my Glock 22, the 40 caliber Glock.
Okay.
I always carried that. So that was one of the big, So once you got on the SWAT team, so if you're in an FBI SWAT team, or if you're an HRT, you qualified and you got a Springfield 1911 operator.
Oh, nice.
Right. So, and in our team, in the Bureau, and in the United States wide, there is that divide of people who say the 1911, the 45 ACP is the hands down the weapon to go to, and then you have guys arguing that side. And then this is at the cleaning table at SWAT. And then you have the guys who are the Glock guys who are, well, but the Glock's lighter, the 40 cal works, I hear more rounds. And that debate will go on for the history of our country, I think, is whether the 45 is better than the Glock. And I'm sure that you'll get some comments on that. I carried both, but I normally carried the Glock because I had more ammo.
Okay. Could you, when you got out, when guys retired, could they keep that Springfield, or was it something like that?
Yeah.
Or
no, you didn't keep that one, but you could buy a personal.
Got it. Okay.
Right. And so, and it's special it has a serial number on it that indicates it's a bureau.
Nice.
It's an FBI weapon. So,
did you get one?
I got 2.
Nice.
Because I have my 2 sons. Right. Anytime I get anything cool, I gotta get 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 2 boys.
Nice.
Right. So I got them. I got myself, but it's for them. They had the 75th anniversary Remington 870.
Okay.
FBI shotgun.
Oh, nice.
They had 2 of those.
Okay.
All kinds of stuff like that.
Okay.
But,
I was gonna say, when you're on SWAT now, you've moved away from the MP5 at this point. You have ARs, but you still have the 870, and then whatever you're choosing, that Springfield or that Glock Model 22.
Yeah. So everyone carried an M4. Yeah, everyone's carrying an M4. No one's really carrying the 870 for SWAT. Mm-hmm. The only thing I was a breacher, so we would carry a modified breaching shotgun.
Yep.
It's like a 12-inch barrel breaching shotgun with about 5 rounds of breaching rounds and stuff like that. So I would carry that, but that was for breaching, not for engaging.
Okay.
But,
nice. Do you have a take-home car with all that stuff in it?
Yeah. Okay. So everyone on the team had a take-home car, and you'd have all these lock boxes to try and lock your stuff in, but you have so much crap that it's so much crap that you gotta it's like you're a one-man portable shop, right? Uh-huh. And so you go with the most valuable, and the stuff that you're going to get in the most trouble for having stolen from you goes in the lockbox.
Got it.
And you're okay, if I lose my fucking pants or these shoes, no one's going to really matter. So, It's whatever if you lose it or you get it stolen, you're gonna get OPR'd for it. You're ramming it in that lockbox. Everything else can theoretically be subject to theft.
Yeah. Oh man. And what was what was like your sketchiest call out or experience while you're on SWAT?
Oh man, you know what? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can answer that. Not that I can't answer. Nothing comes to mind as like the one thing.
Santa jumped right to mind when Santa jumping up.
Yeah. Well, that was the first stop. So I remember the first stop, but
or like anything like you saw when you entered a house, like a disaster inside, or like what something that stands out to you from an op.
I think one, and this kind of, I guess this story kind of comes back to the difference in doing things when I was a single guy, or not single, but a guy without kids as opposed to a guy with kids. It's like, on all these ops, we're hitting, we're doing search warrants, arrest warrants, all high risk in bad parts of around the Bay Area, right? And I remember one op we had. So our whole team was divided into 2 teams, right? And we had to clear 6 different locations for follow-on search teams to come. So we did it. That's Alpha and Bravo. Hit 2 locations, right? Handed over. Then those same teams went hit their second locations, did the handover, and then hit 3rd locations. So by the time you're hitting a 3rd location, it's not 6 in the morning anymore. It could be 7:15, it could be 7:30 in the morning. So on our 3rd location, we went in. I remember it was a guy who had a warrant for it was a gang case, but like an international gang case. So the guy had a murder warrant. And at this point, it's 7:20, 7:30 in the morning. And obviously knock, no one answers, breach. And we were banging pretty heavy back in the day there, especially for those situations. And heads up that we're kind of coming. People are already calling each other and stuff like that. So I remember that there's these 2 little kids that were the same age as my boys. And they must have been 3 years old and 1 year old maybe. And we went in like we do and got everyone secured in custody. The guy wasn't there, but we secured the whole house. And then we had a doctor, we call him Doc. Doc would roll with us. He wouldn't make entry, but he would be out there in case in case someone got hurt. But he comes in. And these little kids are so freaking terrified. And as they should be, right? As they should be. We scare the shit out of adults when we come in and do this stuff. These kids are terrified. They've completely shit and pissed themselves, right? And, the doctor's there taking care of them. Most of the guys at this point are dads, right? They all have kids. So everyone's like place is secured. Everyone's very cognizant of the kids. We give the kids to the doc's changing diapers and stuff like that. But it's like you finish that and then you go to breakfast with the guys and then you go home and you see your kids, right? And you just see how fortunate you think that you are and how fortunate of a situation you have as opposed to someone else that was just got involved with the wrong people. And you see the 2 far aspects of life within a couple hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and people see it anytime. All cops, agents that work stuff on the streets, everyone sees that on a regular basis. They see it every day. But that was and those kids were really not really distinct. As far as most of the and I say not distinct, I mean most of the places we hit had young kids in them, right? Yeah. Who are going through the exact same unfortunate thing. Right. But so man. And what do you when people ask you about going into federal law enforcement, whether they're younger or they're in even high school, college, or maybe they're already in law enforcement or they're in a prosecutor's office or whatever else. But what do you tell them about that path? Well, It's kind of like the question that I loved my career doing it. I loved it all, almost all of it, right? Most of it. Would I want my sons to do it? Is a different question. And if they showed an interest in that, would I try and steer them away? If someone who I don't really know asks about it, I'm honest with them until they these are the things that I did. I really enjoyed it. I have no regrets in doing it. Is now a different time in our country for law enforcement than it was when I was doing it? Yes. Do I think that it's getting better, or we're in a better place for law enforcement now than we were 15 years ago, 10 years ago? No, it started around then and started turning to shit and rapidly going to the shittier side just for everything that law enforcement has to deal with right now. Yeah. So me personally, I loved it. Would I want my sons to do it? I don't know. I wouldn't tell them not to. Very passionate about it, but it's not necessarily something I try and talk them into.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. And all right, before we go, I got to ask you about, there was a time you were growing up in Chicago and you went to prom, I believe, and you went into a diner or something like that. And
it was one of your favorite stories. Okay.
You see a couple of guys, like it's three of them, right? They're all hanging out over another table, and one of them you recognize.
Yeah. So it was actually it was in Chicago, right? I was a freshman in high school. I was 14 years old. I grew up in Glenview, which is the North Shore, just outside of the city. And so it was the turnabout dance, or the Sadie Hawkins dance, where the girls invite the guys. So it was 5 couples, 10 of us. The parents chip in by one limo, or rent one limo, and put 10 of us into the back of it. And we go to downtown Chicago, went to a place called the Pump Room, which this must have been 87-ish. Back then was a real popular, nice, swanky restaurant. So there's 10 kids, me being one of them, sitting at a table eating, and I got my little tweed tie on and sport coat, and I look over, and maybe literally 15 feet away, I'm looking over, and it's Sammy Davis Jr. And I'm like, oh, guys, Sammy Davis Jr., holy crap. Sitting there at a table, like a table for 4 with 2 other guys. And so I'm like, hey, should I get his autograph? Yeah, John, go get his autograph. Get his autograph. Waiter comes over, gives me a pen and paper. I get up and I walk over. Mr. Davis, I'm so sorry to bother you, sir, but could I please have your autograph? What's your name? My name's John. John what? Jon Dubin. John, sit down. There was an empty seat there. And so I sit down, and then him and the 2 other guys who are with him start firing questions at me. How old am I? What am I doing there? Which one's my date? How long have I been dating her? All these questions. So finally, after about 3-4 minutes, the restaurant is looking at me sitting at this table with Sammy Davis Jr. Finally, he signs the autograph, and I get up to Leo. Mr. Davis, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time and signing this for me. He goes, no problem. He goes, John, hey, before you leave, you want my buddy's autographs too? And I said, no. So the 3 of them bust out laughing, and the table kind of erupts, and I'm standing there as I'm pushing my chair in. Now everyone, to include the waiters, are all staring at me at the table. So I look at Sam Davis Jr. I'm like, Mr. Davis, why are you laughing at me? He goes, John, don't worry about it. We're not laughing at you. You have a great night tonight. It was great meeting you tonight. I'm like, okay. So fast forward to the next night. My parents are in bed, and they call me. They're watching TV in bed. Jonathan, get in here. My dad. Yeah, look on TV. See, that's a live benefit concert going on right now in Chicago, downtown Chicago. See on stage right now, that's Sammy Davis Jr. I'm like, oh, yeah, that explains why I saw him last night. My dad goes, now look closely. By any chance, are the 2 guys that are on stage with him the same 2 guys he was having dinner with last night? And I look, I'm like, those are the same 2 guys. What are they doing on stage? My dad takes it. I still remember the remote. Throws the remote at me, misses me, hits the wall. He goes, you idiot. See that guy right there? That's Dean Martin. And that guy right there, that's Frank Sinatra. I'm like, who? I had no idea.
They weren't in Cannonball Run. Actually, they were. Wasn't Dean Martin? Dean Martin.
The only reason I knew who Sandy was because of Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
Right? Which came out when we were like that age.
Right.
But Dean was in Cannonball Run. But I didn't recognize him.
Because he was in Cannonball Run, he was dressed as a priest, right? Driving the Ferrari.
Yeah, they're both dressed as it. Yep.
Oh, so it's,
And aren't they in an ambulance?
That's right, ambulance. Yeah, that's right. Oh, was he in the ambulance? I gotta watch it again, obviously. Yeah, conflating. That's awesome. And did you still have that? I forget. Do you have that autograph?
Yeah, the signature.
Yeah,
the autograph. No, I gave it to my mom. I remember where she put it for a while, and then everything else disappeared.
Yeah,
but yeah, they definitely got a laugh out of it.
That's good that's awesome. They must love that. That's fantastic. Oh, man, I love that. Oh, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. And also for people who read Cry Havoc, there's a little part at the end there where there's some FBI involvement in Cry Havoc. And so I want to thank you for your help in that chapter. Sincerely appreciate it. And in everything else as well. And man, for your friendship, support, and everything you've done for the country. So man, it's we need to get another hunt on the books that I can actually make it to.
I agree. It's my pleasure, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's always great spending time and talking with you.
Yeah, man.
So, and you and I will hook up, I think, soon, no matter what.
Perfect.
But we got to find out the next hunt. That's usually. Yep. So
let's do it. And Pineapple Brothers. Yeah. PineappleBrothers.com, HighAdventureCompany.com. Head out to Lanai and have that family vacation that won't count against you when it comes to your hunting days. You know?
Exactly.
Perfect. Cool, brother. Awesome, man.
All right, brother, man. Be safe, okay?
You too. Thanks for everything.
Tell everyone on your end I said hello.
You do the same. Take care.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Danger Close podcast is brought to you by Cry Havoc. From New York Times #1 best-selling author, Jack Carr. Cry Havoc, a Tom Reese thriller. Order now. Watch a Cry Havoc teaser here, or watch another episode of the podcast here.